To the panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Michael, first, Albanese, yesterday to the North West Cape gas project, no to sanctions in Israel. Are we in fact seeing a more conservative Prime Minister already in this second term?
I doubt that, Andrew. I think he had no choice on the North West. I mean, it's been a fiasco the last 3-4 years on this issue. I think that's really the pressure from Western Australia. They want to get on with it, and the unions, I might add, because the unions have been pushing also for that. In terms of Israel, I welcome that, and I hope you're right. I doubt it. I still haven't seen Penny Wong out there making the sorts of comments I'd like to see from the Foreign Minister on this particular issue. Albanese is, I think, trying to play the centre. That's good. It's important, but, it's early days yet. I think you're being a bit optimistic.
I'm trying to encourage, Michael. I'm trying to encourage with praise. Get with the program. Cameron, about the North West Cape gas extension, I mean, Michael's right to say, that in a sense the government had no option, and it's only been extended after 3 years of delaying this decision. But what does this tell you about Labor's green energy revolution?
Well, it tells you that gas has got to be fundamental to it, and that's what's good news for Australia. And I think to your point about the top of the program, Andrew, it's a good day for Australia. We've got government policy finally getting back on track with our big resources sector, North West Shelf gas, and gas underpinning our future, and also a shadow opposition that's finally getting their act together. So, look, good day all round. And this Albanese bloke's growing on me, Andrew. I mean, two great decisions today. North West Shelf gas and rejecting Ed Husick's call for Hamas and Gaza to be recognised along with the Palestinian state.
Yes, I think he's actually growing into the role, and I know that doesn't. I'm not saying that to say, oh look, I agree with what he's doing. I vehemently oppose to quite a bit of it, but I think he's gaining a little gravitas and I think he's got this image, Michael, of being stable, not going one way, too far one way or the other. I think he's liking this new him.
Oh, look, Andrew, I hope you're right, but that's a big call. I mean, given his history,
know better than I do.
This is a reflection of 94 seats in the lower house and not needing really to deal with the Greens. That's what this is a reflection of. They've obviously got more confidence in policy, but, the fundamental policies on the economy are terrible. We've still got, industrial relations reforms that are going to strangle our industry. We've still got the net zero madness. We've still got immigration at levels that are, causing all sorts of difficulties in the housing market. I think you're being really optimistic. I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong.
No, I did caveat by saying I'm vehemently opposed to much of his program, including every one of those things you just mentioned. Cameron, the new coalition team, what are your highlights here? What did you notice? What did you pick up on?
Well, I think people are getting an opportunity to work out of their comfort zone and show their real skills. Andrew Hastie being moved out of defence is great. Timber Price as well, obviously that's really good. I think people like James McGrath coming through is excellent. Ted O'Brien is a really bright Queenslander and will be really able to shine as Shadow Treasurer, and he knows his stuff. Tim Wilson's also really good. So there's a really good team that's come through there. And isn't it good that the human hand grenade, Jane Hume, has finally been turfed out? I mean, could she blow up the coalition campaign any harder than she did on the work from home and Chinese spies? I mean, she cost the coalition seat after seat after seat. And it's good to see that finally incompetence gets punished.
It was terrible. I mean, she knows her finance stuff, but yeah, she made two massive blues in the election, and
huge.
I mean,
huge.
you can't overlook that, I think. What did you make of it, Michael?
Well, sticking to my theme of you two being overly optimistic, I think you're kidding yourselves. I think what you're facing here is really, in terms of electoral terms, when I look at that team, it's like Dad's army fighting the 82nd Airborne. There's no way that this Liberal shadow cabinet is going to be able to take it up to the government. And I say that for two reasons. One, I don't think Susan Ley knows what she believes in. She was all over the place in the election. She barely scored 1 point on the government. And as for Ted O'Brien, he's a nice bloke. I appreciate all of that. But he was the bloke that had courage for the key policy on uranium and couldn't sell it. And, let's not forget that. That was part of the reason he couldn't beat Chris Bowen on energy. So I'm not optimistic. I think Patterson's a good choice. But really, in opposition, it's really only the leader and the shadow treasurer that count. And the rest of them, if they can support, they can support. But the two key things, I again, reinforce the position I said. I think there'll be a leadership challenge before the end of this term.
Look, I agree there's a question mark over Susan Lee, but I can only judge her by what she does while she's in the job. The rest are just predictions. And the thing about, I think you were right, Cameron. Look, I think Michael might be a little harsh on Ted O'Brien. He could only argue for that nuclear policy when he was allowed to. He wasn't the leader. And it seemed to me that Peter Dutton and his team were running away from that policy and trying to bury him. In the one debate he had with Chris Bowen, he wiped the floor with him. So, I don't know. What did you make of that?
Oh, and I think Angus Taylor was a shocking shadow treasurer. So he let the side down on tax and a range of other things. Ted O'Brien is seriously bright. And to Michael's point, yes, in the constraints that he had around energy, difficult portfolio, I think he'll shine as shadow treasurer. And, Jim Chalmers is a very good friend of mine, but I think Jim is going to have a bit of competition now from Ted.
We shall see. Cameron Milner, Michael Costa, thank you very much to you both.